Hey guys, Charles Barber here, and today I want to shoot a quick video about why diets do not work. I've been working in the wellness center for about 10 years now, and been in the arena for a long time, and I always hear about the diets, the Atkins diet or the raw food diet or the vegan diet or the vegetarian diet or the Whole30 diet, which is kind of a new one. But what's interesting is that all these diets, when you look at just the word alone, D-I-E, diet, it's just kind of weird. And I've always thought it was something weird to me as well. I can understand maybe a cleansing or whatnot for an extended period of time. You have a special diet. But wondering why, a lot of people ask me, why we don't preach diets, why we don't adhere to a specific diet. And a lot of that is the reason why is because diets don't work. And I'm going to go into that today and really cover why diets don't work so that you can release any mysticism about dieting and whether it's something that you think you need to do or you don't need to do or whatever. But the true solution that you can obtain from this knowledge I'm going to give you will help you just stay healthy and happy and whole forever. Because at the end of the day, we are creatures of habit, and making small, subtle changes seems to be the most effective way to have long-term effects in our body. Because at the end of the day, why do we diet? We're dieting because we want a certain effect. Most people diet to lose weight, or they diet because they've been eating the wrong foods and they want to feel better. But why? Just so we can go back to those foods? So at the end of the day, we're not really treating the root cause to a lot of our issues, and so we're trying to figure out ways to supplement results in. And by saying, okay, I'm not going to go raw vegan forever, but I'm going to do it as a diet for a little bit of period of time, it can make us feel kind of like it's not overwhelming. It's like, okay, I'm just going to do this for an extended period of time, and then I'm gonna, get the results I need, and then I'm gonna go back to normal. And that's admirable. I mean, I can totally resonate with that. I mean, I've been in that situation, especially went raw food diet, and I experienced that. And then I went paleo, and then I went raw vegan, then I went raw primal. Then I went a little bit more vegetarian and started cooking a little bit more. And now I'm just normal. I'm not anything. I try to eat, majority of what I try to eat is veggies in my diet. I call it the 80-20 rule. But I do have grass-fed meats occasionally. I do have grass-fed butter occasionally as well. And I do enjoy organ meats. And I enjoy fish every now and then. But the majority of my diet is a plant-based diet. And so that's something that I think we all just need to come to grips to, that we do need to eat more foods. But I can go into that at a later note. The key to understand as to why diets do not work is your microbiome, is your bacteria. And this is something that is extremely important to understand, because our bacteria govern a lot of our emotional state, our well-being. They govern how we feel. They govern our ability to digest food. And as they colonize based on the food we eat, they procreate and grow. So if we're eating foods that are super rich in carbohydrates and sugars, then we're going to be feeding specific types of bacteria that feed on those sugars and carbohydrates. So naturally, when we try to get off eating too many of those specific foods, we have cravings, and then this whole willpower thing comes into effect where, we have to have willpower, we have to push our body through it. But once we understand the microbiome matrix, and we understand that these bacteria are on our tongue, they're on our gut, they're on our skin, then we start to get a better idea as to why diets don't work. Because again, if we're feeding our body a specific nutrients in an unbalanced way, then we're going to be creating an unbalanced microbiome. Then when those certain microbes that are growing don't get fed like they're used to getting fed, they flare up and we have cravings, causing us to emotionally get charged up in some way. Either we have a craving, or we just something on the lines of, we start salivating, we see a picture of something, we start salivating, and we just want it. And what we have to understand is that it's the habits that we make daily that will dictate our ability to not adhere to these cravings, or not have to experience these cravings, because they're really not us. And that's the key to understand as well. these cravings and all this stuff that we go through in life, and we, sometimes we stress eat or we eat when we're depressed. These bad habits can create an unhealthy microbiome, and then those bacteria again want to feed. So it's not technically us, it is us, but it's not us. And I say that just to shed some light on this whole subject, because at the end of the day, you have the power within you to be healthy, to be happy, and to be whole. And one of the best ways to adhere and to accomplish this goal is to not diet, is to understand that it's our lifestyle that's really going to fix the root cause to our problems, and we don't have to change it overnight. The tortoise won the race, not the hare, guys, right? And this is something that I've had to learn the hard way. So as I'm here speaking about this, I really took me so many years to learn this. So learn from my mistakes, learn from my experience. The diets don't work, and trying to change yourself overnight because you watched a documentary or because you read an article isn't the most healthy, sustainable way for you to modify and change your life. Because at the end of the day, these extremes can cause your body to have extreme emotional states, which then will cause you to go back to the way things were, make you give up, make you throw in the towel. But by this one simple tip that I'm going to give you, by just adding one good thing in a week, this can have monumental effects on your long-term health and well-being, because you're not having to change everything. You're just adding one thing in, a good thing. And something like that could be like breakfast. A lot of times people either skip breakfast or they just don't eat a very nutrient-dense breakfast. So by adding something in, like in breakfast, or adding in a smoothie that you like, working on getting good vegetables in your diet in the morning as well, maybe with some bone broth. That's something that I like to do in conjunction with my supplements, my foods and shakes, and just start to that immediately starts to set the bar for the day and give your body the nutrition it needs. But by making that one modification, you will notice monumental effects in your well-being, in your mentality towards food, your relationship with food. Because at the end of the day, you're not overwhelmed, you're just changing your breakfast. And what happens is, as you eat a healthy breakfast and you start feeding those certain microbes in the morning, as that becomes a habit, then your body starts craving that nutrition, so it automatically weighs out the bad by adding in the good. And so this is just one thing that you guys can do that can really help change your mind, body, and getting it healthier and adhering more to a healthy lifestyle. Another thing to really understand about dieting and why we crave foods, outside from the fact that if we feed our body certain foods, that certain microbes will then flourish and grow, is to understand that our palate, our tongue, if you will, is also a gateway to understanding where we are and to know if we even have a healthy, balanced diet. Because there's 5 different flavors, right, guys? There's 5 of these guys that exist in our world, and we want to be balanced in all 5 of those flavors. And I'm just going to go over those flavors: sweet, sour, which us in America, I feel like we do really good with the sweet, maybe not so much with the sour. We also have salty. Salty is something we really do good with in America. I think we got the sweet and the salty covered. We got sweet, sour, salty, bitter. I know not a lot of us do bitters, and astringents, which is kind of like a musk, or even it's another note on almost like a bitter in a way, but it's different. And these 3, the 3 that I want to really focus on is sour, astringent, and bitter. These flavors aren't very prominent in our diet. And at Crucial 4, we talk about the 4 missing food groups. And these 4 missing food groups all contain astringent, bitters, and sours. And so it's so funny that when we started to explore this and I started experimenting with these foods and herbs and mushrooms, these missing food groups, that I was actually wanting to stay away from capsules and not purchase things in capsules or even provide things in capsules. I actually try to avoid it like the plague, because I knew, and what we found was that as these flavors start to hit your palate, they start to change your relationship with the other flavors. So for example, if you have too much sour in your diet or you have too much bitter in your diet, then you won't be able to really touch salty and sweet things. You won't really crave them that much at all. But and again, there's a balance there. Now, I don't really see many people having issues with eating too many bitters, but my point, and you guys know where I'm going here, is that if you're looking to kind of switch that over, maybe by adding some bitters or some astringents in your diet, will also help with your sugar cravings or any type of salty cravings you might be having. But the idea here again is that the palate is getting balanced, it's getting fed in a balanced matrix of the sweet, sour, astringent, bitter, and salty. So by having too much of one of these flavors, it makes us have an extreme experience with the other. And so sometimes we have people demo our Sazandra berry, which is phenomenal springtime tonic to help clean the liver. And we call it the barometer herb because it actually contains all 5 flavors. And one thing that's also interesting about these 5 flavors is that they govern certain energy meridians in your body. So how your organs are firing, your adrenals, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, your gallbladder, your liver, and they govern that. So by consuming these bitters on our tongue, we actually start to activate those meridians in the body, plus we nurture those organs. On the same lines that we're actually bringing in we're creating an environment, we're bringing in foods that create a healthy ecosystem or environment in our microbiome that allow the bacteria that like bitters to flourish and grow. And it's so cool because when we're balanced in this diet, we see that these bacteria that eat these certain flavors, we see that they counterbalance the others. And so together, they create like this web or this community or this fractal of harmony, of geometry, which is what we are. And so by adhering to a balanced diet through our palate, we're able to kick all these diets to the curb. We're able to say, you know what, these cravings aren't for me anymore. And just by adding one thing good in a week, you're able to move yourself in that direction. And this is just how you get started. There's obviously some more information I could cover here, but that's why you guys can just go and book an appointment for free online, or you can ask a question right here and I'll just answer it and we can go into depth in that. But I really just kind of wanted to cover some key concepts as to why diets don't work. And again, it has to do with our microbiome. It has to do with the certain flavors that we actually consume. So next time you come to Crucial 4 and you're thinking about getting that spirulina in a capsule, think, you know what, I think I'm gonna go with the powder today, and I'm gonna start small, because with these flavors, we don't, again, have to go overboard. If bitter is extremely bitter to us, then we work with where we can work at. Don't push yourself to a point of failure, because you'll just give up and then you'll be back in the same situation. So sometimes if it says on the bag, start with a 1/4 teaspoon, and a 1/4 teaspoon's too much, you just can't handle it, then bump it down to an 1/8. Bump it down to a 16th, bump it down to a sprinkle, but start somewhere and start inoculating your microbiome, your palate, with certain flavors that you don't love, that you don't have a lot of in your diet, and you will immediately see results. You will start to notice that your blood sugar is more balanced, you seem more calm, more clear-headed. You'll notice that your overall cravings will dissipate, if not go away completely. And you'll notice that you actually will start to crave those very things that you thought you would never like. A lot of times I get this with sauerkraut, which can be sour and a little astringent. And it's so funny because after about 2 to 3 weeks of adding in the amount that you can add in, the juice or the actual sauerkraut, your body will start to change over, and then you'll start to crave that sauerkraut. And I've got hundreds of people that can comment on this and say, yes, this is true, Charles. You forced me in a way to try it, and even though I gave up and and then I came back and realized that I didn't have to do a full tablespoon or what it suggests or what online says, oh, this is a good dose to start with. Even though I didn't do that and I just started with what worked for me, that was able to get me to where I am today. So again, the tortoise mentality. So the 5 flavors are the key to understanding why diets don't work. They're also the key to understanding how to have a healthy microbiome and a healthy gut, which also leads to a healthy you, which will lead to healthy weight management, healthy mind-body connection, so well-being, healthy sex drive, healthy ability to deal with stress, so your stress levels will absolutely be better as well. So I hope this video helped you guys today. I know it's helped me a lot. It's taken me a long time to come to this realization, and I see no one talking about it. But it only makes sense because we actually work in the wellness center and we've done the trials and errors that we actually create sound solutions that you can take home and utilize. So start by adding something in. It's also part of our build phase. Build, balance, sustain, thrive is our proven process. So the build phase is just adding something in, and by doing that, you're automatically taking something bad out. And we just say start that for 2 weeks, and then if you want to add something new in, you can. Now obviously we're all different, we all move at different paces. Some of us move faster than others, so again, move at your pace. But if you're a fast-paced mover, don't, maybe slow it down. If you're a slow-paced mover, maybe speed it up. And I think we all know who we are inside as we self-reflect, which I also is another thing to do, because a lot of times we're so busy we just grab and go. So by taking time to reflect, by taking time to inoculate your palate with certain flavors that I'm talking about here, maybe the astringents and the bitters and the sours, and then by acknowledging your reactions, then you're able to make a conscious decision on what foods that you need to be adding into your lifestyle to change your life. All right, guys, signing off here, Charles Barber. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.